Can you imagine having an ancestor who was one of the most prominent, I mean, regardless black, white, or otherwise, just one of the most prominent individuals in New York, and you don't know anything about that person because that person is black? You know, that is such a loss. He made tremendous contributions here. This is probably one of the most prominent African Americans of his day, if not the most. I mean, you know, certainly in being the first black college-trained physician in the United States, although his education was outside of the United States because he was not admitted to a school on the basis, a college here, on the basis of his race. He was an activist physician, all right, an activist doctor. He was very much involved with the abolitionist movement in New York City. He was the physician for the Colored Orphan Asylum. He ran a pharmacy, as far as I know, it's the first pharmacy owned by an African American here in the city. As a matter of fact, James McCune Smith did the introduction to My Bondage and My Freedom. He certainly was very much refuting the kinds of pseudo-scientific writings that were coming up during, you know, the period. He was principally a doctor. I mean, this man was working in that capacity, right? James McCune Smith believed that people needed to remain here while others, like for a while certainly Henry Highland Garnet, who was one of his schoolmates, close friend and everything, believed that it's not going to work out here, that you need to go someplace else, especially with the Fugitive Slave Act, you know, of 1850 that allowed slave owners to come into the North to actually go after and reclaim enslaved people. He believed very strongly in the ability for black people to excel if they were given the chance, that they should not just be hemmed in to particular types of work. He was born here in 1813. We do know that the family in some census reports were listed as mulattoes, but even that is something that is not clear-cut. In the 1860 census, that column was left blank. So I think that people automatically assume that, well, there's nothing there, so that family was listed as white. By 1870, it is very clear, because it's marked, that they are being identified as white. We know that the family today, his descendants are white, you know, and I don't know of any of his descendants who stayed within the black community. Frederick Douglass has descendants who still today, people, you know, invite them to speak and all of that, and so do a number of other people, but the amount of material that we actually have on him is nothing like what you have on Frederick Douglass. We know who people married, we know, but if you phase out of being black, you don't know who people married because nobody's making that connection. It's unfortunate. We don't. Maybe you'll uncover it, or maybe I will. I think that people need to gain a sense of pride and self in understanding that against the odds, this man became a doctor, and not only that, but served his community, both as a physician, but also as a freedom fighter. You know, it's not just enough for you to gain in your profession, but to also be centered in who you are and what you can do, what you can give back. And understanding that people did it in the past and they're still doing it. We're talking about James McCune Smith, but you know, there are earlier people, there are later people who are centered right here in New York City. For me, this kind of knowledge and understanding and knowing about the place where you live, the kinds of contributions, you didn't just get here, your legacy is much, much broader than that. And it's not just a legacy for African Americans, but it's something for everybody to experience and understand. He really is somebody who deserves to be remembered.